we're back. I didn't know we were going to go for 3 hours, but we are.
Hey, let's
we
keep
are
it going
cooking.
if we're flowing, man.
No doubt, no doubt. So, yeah, and I'm glad that you said what you said, because me looking like me, and you looking like you, I was like, to me, whenever the Smart City Initiative started coming in here, and I'm like, okay, is it just me, or should melanated people be as concerned as me about this? And to hear you express that you're a little surprised, um, reassures me that I'm not completely kooky in my caution of this. So,
Hmm.
uh, so, and anyway, um, it does put me in a very, precarious situation, because I pray for LaRonda every day. I pray for certain city council members every day. I want to believe that that at heart, our public officials have our best interest at heart, and that maybe they just didn't weigh the consequences of this. And so, nevertheless, time is running out, because for obvious reasons, on a national level, time is running out on these issues. And kind of like Captain America, this is not freedom. And even if it means I have to say some stuff to you that's uncomfortable, trust me, I'm saying it from a place of love and caution, and maybe a little bit of experience and wisdom on the subject matter. It's not just, I'm paranoid, clearly. So, that being the case, Marsha, what I wanted to do is, by the time this is probably aired, there will be an email. I did let Madam Mayor know that I was going to take time to process council's response, right, and then follow up, do my due diligence, and follow up, and let her know I would be communicating with City Council and what my thoughts are on their responses to our concerns. And so by the time this actually is uploaded, they should have the email. But would you like to hear the email?
Sure.
All right, let me go ahead and do a screen share, and you ladies let me know when the multiverse of madness is back up.
See it.
Man, that was quick. All right, so you guys can see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the email that I took time, to process everything and put my thoughts on the mistress, which is the blank white page, and this is what they have now. Dear City Council members, Police Chief Fisher, and Mayor Patrick, on February 18th, 2025, myself and others addressed the City Council regarding our concerns about Operation Rolling Thunder. We referenced Law Dixon's viral stop, which clearly demonstrated that the operation was not about public safety. Additionally, we highlighted the growing police state tactics affecting the Hispanic community and the flock surveillance system's blatant violation of the Fourth Amendment rights of Warner Robins residents. First and foremost, the claim that the flock system can be turned off and on like a switch only when a crime occurs is deceptive, as that is not how the flock system operates. This false assurance misleads the public into believing they are not under constant surveillance, when in reality, their movements are continuously tracked and stored. The council's response was deeply troubling. First, they attempted to renounce responsibility for Operation Rolling Thunder by claiming it was conducted by their, quote, higher ups in a, quote, hierarchy, and that we, the people, must understand that they too have, quote, bosses. This statement is concerning because the foundation of our republic establishes that while there may be a hierarchy, at the top of that hierarchy is we, the people. The source of law comes from us, as affirmed in Yickwo versus Hopkins. If the council believes state or federal officials hold authority above the will of the people, and if they personally disagreed with Operation Rolling Thunder but still acquiesce to it, then they cannot be trusted to ensure that the flock system remains under local control. Their denial of responsibility for one contradicts their claim of control over the other. Additionally, Councilman Charlie Bibbs' remarks about standing behind Mayor Patrick's, quote, leadership on the flock issue are both weak and repugnant. This attempt to shift future blowback onto the mayor is a blatant abdication of responsibility. Madam Mayor Patrick was not elected to be the, quote, leader, nor were any council members. Elected officials are public servants and guardians of the people's rights. Their role is to counsel and protect the Constitution, not to rubber stamp mass surveillance systems. The failure to safeguard the Fourth Amendment falls more on the council than on the mayor, as it was their duty to dissuade her from implementing such invasive measures. Their lack of diligence and respect for the Bill of Rights is what allowed this violation to take root. Furthermore, I have long held the opinion that Councilman Charlie Bibb lacks nobility, honor, or genuine concern for the people over his own interests. His dismissive attitude regarding civil liberties, stating that anyone with a cell phone is already being tracked, as if that justifies further government overreach, is disgraceful. Private citizens choosing to contract with mobile providers with the ability to control tracking features is entirely different from the government imposed mass surveillance with no opt out. His just saying attitude toward the erosion of our rights is further evidence that he is unfit to serve Warner Robins and should consider stepping down. Illusion of safety versus legal liability. While the intent behind implementing Flock may have been to keep the 87,000 residents of Warner Robins safe, the reality is that this system has burdened taxpayers with 87,000 plus potential legal standings in court due to these blatant Fourth Amendment violations. Every single resident now has grounds to challenge the city's decision, and the financial and legal repercussions could be catastrophic. Privacy violations and overreach. The Flock system engages in mass surveillance, collecting and storing vehicle data indiscriminately, often without proper oversight. This raises constitutional concerns regarding the Fourth Amendment, which protects residents from unreasonable searches and seizures. The collection of this data, without individualized suspicion or warrants, sets a dangerous precedent for government overreach and encroachment on personal privacy. The constitutionality of speeding cameras is already being challenged by multiple sheriffs and legislators in our state. The Flock system is an even greater threat to civil liberties and will inevitably be challenged as well. Potential for abuse and misuse. Given the recent media spotlight on cases of police overreach and abuse of power in multiple departments and offices in our area, particularly affecting the melanated community, there is further cause for concern. Any tool given to law enforcement is actually a weapon in the wrong hands. With the stories of James Mathis, Samuel McCrary, Law Dixon, and now Joanna Ash's son surfacing in only a matter of weeks, the last weapon local law enforcement needs is Flock. History has shown that surveillance tools in the wrong hands leads to abuses of power. The lack of transparency in Flock's data sharing policies allows for misuse by unauthorized parties, including private corporations, federal agencies, and even bad actors within law enforcement. Given past instances of government overreach in our state, it is imperative that we scrutinize any system capable of tracking residents' movements in real time. Ineffectiveness in crime prevention. Despite claims that Flock aids in solving crimes, studies indicate that such mass surveillance tools have minimal impact on crime prevention. Criminals adapt quickly, while law-abiding residents bear the cost of being monitored at all times. The real question remains, do the benefits of this system outweigh the dangers of mass surveillance, legal and financial liability? The city's adoption of the Flock system could expose taxpayers to legal challenges. Municipalities across the country have faced lawsuits over warrantless data collection and misuse of surveillance technology. Are we prepared to defend costly legal battles over constitutional violations? Furthermore, what safeguards are in place to ensure that this data is not exploited by third parties? Violation of oath and legal consequences. Every city official who has sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution has now placed themselves in direct violation of that oath by supporting or enabling this system. Under Georgia Code 1610.1, any public officer who willfully and intentionally violates their oath of office is guilty of a crime. By approving and implementing the Flock system, city officials may also be in violation of 18 U.S. Code 241, conspiracy against rights, and 18 U.S.C. 242, deprivation of rights under color of law, both of which carry serious legal consequences, including potential civil and criminal liabilities. Case study, Sabrina Mergenthaler's Flock Nightmare. A stark warning can be found in the case of Sabrina Mergenthaler in Gwinnett County. Due to a clerical error tied to a 7-year-old speeding ticket, a Flock camera erroneously flagged her vehicle for an invalid warrant. Within 30 minutes, law enforcement swarmed her home, tased her, and arrested her, all because of this flawed system. Does this sound like crime prevention, or is this the reckless endangerment of innocent residents? As a result, sizable lawsuits have been filed against the responsible agencies for this grave deprivation of civil rights under the color of public safety. The residents of Warner Robins must take heed. This is not a hypothetical risk. It has already happened in our backyard. A call for an emergency town hall meeting. Given the serious concerns surrounding the flock system, I urge the City Council to hold an emergency town hall meeting on April 13th that is prominently publicized to discuss the broader implications of this surveillance program. This meeting should be live streamed, and each council member should conduct a poll on their social media platforms, allowing the residents of Warner Robins to publicly vote on whether they are willing to sacrifice their privacy for a mere perception of safety. Furthermore, I request that each city council member provide a formal response to this email by March the 23rd, addressing their stance on this issue. A warning to parents and city officials. Am I cooking, baby?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Are you cooking?
Glad. A warning to parents and city officials. Sometimes, because I can't see you when I'm doing screen share, so I'm like, did I lose them? Anyway, a warning to parents and city officials. Most of you receiving this email are parents. You must ask yourselves, is this the kind of world you want your children to grow up in? A world where their every movement is monitored, tracked, and recorded? The installation of this surveillance system should terrify every single parent, especially those in positions of power, who now have the responsibility to make a decision that will shape the future of our community. The moral argument cannot be won. While city officials may attempt to win the battle of legalese and justify Flock's implementation under cries of public safety, you will never win the moral argument on this. The residents of Warner Robins are watching. They are waiting to see whether their representatives will dig in their heels and force this Orwellian system upon them, or whether they will take a wise and measured course of action by pausing to reflect on the broader ramifications of this system. Educational links that would be provided. Before proceeding any further with the flock system, each council member is strongly urged to conduct diligent research on the documented abuses and failures of mass surveillance technologies. To assist in this effort, an educational resource list will be provided with critical studies, case examples, and legal analyses. Ignoring this information would not only be irresponsible, but a dereliction of duty to those you serve. This issue is not merely about technology, it is about the fundamental principles of our republic, privacy, and government accountability. The residents of this city will not stand idly by as their rights are quietly eroded under the guise of public safety. I look forward to your response and to a public discussion on this critical matter. The residents deserve answers. Below are the links to begin your enlightenment. Thank you and serve us well. And of course, as you can see, I have a plethora of lengthy links and a cool ass downloaded content signature at the bottom. But a plethora, a treasure trove of links so that there is no excuse. So I shall open the floor to your thoughts on this email. Marsha, you go first.
Applaud you on the email. You should always give a request or demand or ask and a consequence. And for suggesting a town hall, because I was thinking like, even going a step further, maybe that they create a resolution that they will actually hold hearings before making decisions like this in the future. And maybe even in Gwinnett, and just kind of pushing that, rinsing and repeating it in areas, municipalities throughout Georgia. I hope that they watch some of those periodicals. I hope that they actually read the emails. I have a lot of faith that your city council members will. Ours don't.
We'll see. They never respond to my emails, so we'll see.
Yeah, but they received it, and so it. And that's just the first step, because you're making it. You've already gotten on the agenda. You're making a request in writing through an email, and you've given a deadline, a timeline, you've given the resources. They can't say that, they weren't aware, they have not had time to process it or digest it. And some of our most valued leaders are leaders that are able to pivot and say, hey, I heard my constituents, I heard what the community, had to say. I didn't think about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
We might need to reevaluate this. We may need to just kind of pause this and see.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't want, you know, Mayor Patrick for this to be like something that puts a stain on her, reelection, because overall I can tell that, majority of the people are behind her. They support her. They like that she's taking on, having plans and getting some things done in a timely fashion. Because you don't have to wait 8 years now to get to see some change. And if you have a plan and you have the support. And so this isn't something that, you know, Warner Robins nor Fort Valley need to take lead in being the first rural areas of putting Middle Georgia on the map with smart cities of this nature. There are so many other ways that they can, accomplish this and bring something less threatening and intimidating and less evasive. Um, just some of the points that you brought up in the email. And, I'm just thinking how that will impact, a place like Fort Valley. Um, in Georgia, if there is a county with less than 100,000 people, you probably know this, Daniel, Mona, or Sabrina, you may have heard this, don't know. But if there is a county of less than 100,000 residents, then your probate and magistrate judge only needs to have a GED or a high school diploma. Did you all know that?
No.
I did not.
Yes. So the thinking was, back, you know, before the Civil War, or as America was becoming America, that if it was a small place, you may only have, let's just say we were settling in that era. And I went to law school and Mona went to law school, and there were only like, 50 people who watched Little House on the Prairie. I'm aging myself. And so the thinking was, okay, let's make Marsha the judge because Mona will need to represent people since we only have two people that went to law school. So that's where that thought, came from. And so that's still on the books. So you take a place like Fort Valley, okay, and we have we're less than 100,000 people. And so when I moved back home, I I got a traffic violation, went to traffic court, was used to being in the Atlanta area. If you can't pay your traffic ticket in the Atlanta area, I don't know how it is in Warner Robins or Macon, but if you don't have the money, you can, like, if your traffic ticket is like $250, you can get them like $100 and then you get on the payment plan, or, and that's that. Well, I get back home, and I remember, I think maybe a light was out or something, and I purchased the light by the time I had to arrive at court. And so um, the probate judge, well, the clerk would ask you, before you went in the courtroom, do you want to go ahead and pay the ticket, or do you want to, you know, um, pay the ticket, or, see the judge, or however. And so I'm saying that people are not able to pay the ticket and they're placed on probation. Like that day,
Yeah.
placed on probation, like might have to do some community service, like on probation. And I'm sitting there like, oh, I hope she let me slide with getting my life correct, fixed, because it was like maybe 4 days before payday. I think I was getting paid on like the 1st or the 15th, and it might have been like the 9th or some foolishness. And I'm like, no, hey, I'm not trying to do that. So I'm just sitting here imagining how this would impact people in a place like
Mm-hmm.
Peach County, you know. And so if you have this Fox system, you know, come and you have this smart city, and we can't even say Fort Valley is not a city, so we're gonna have the smart town because we're not even, you know,
Yeah.
a city. I don't even want to. The visuals that I'm seeing for the presentation, the graphics are of places with skyscrapers, you know, metropolitan areas, not for a place like Fort Valley. We just had our chief of
Right.
police, Chief Flores. I think it was 3 months ago. He was talking about getting some damn horses to patrol
Yeah.
in Fort Valley.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And so now we're going to elevate to
A smart city.
being watched.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so, you know, just thinking how this will impact people, because I always say that Fort Valley is the Atlanta of country towns in Georgia. You know, we have a HBCU there. Um, you we know that oftentimes we see a lot of state troopers in Fort Valley, because they know that we have college students there. And so it's like clockwork, you know. They set up. And so just seeing how this could impact, you know, the community. And if Fort Valley does it, Roberta's going to possibly do it.
Mm-hmm.
Montezuma's going to possibly do it.
And it's
Cornell's
all an
going to.
interconnected database.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you see. And yeah, so this is very, you know, disturbing, and I really don't think it's been completely thought out. And just the email that you're reading, so they're actually saying that they can like cut it off and it only comes on if there's a crime. So what is the damn purpose? Because if it's off, then you can't see the crime being committed. So then when the person calls 911 and says somebody kicked in my door, that's when you turn it on. Hell, it's too late then. The door is kicked in.
Right now, Mona and Sabrina, I know you want to say something, but Mona, Marsha,
What?
I feel so bad for Mona sometimes because she has to hear me
What?
all the
I
time
just obtain information.
like beat on stuff. So she's actually been watching me beat on this email for however long, you know, making sure, tweaking it. And I think it's Sabrina is even because I've been sending out just amongst my inner circle, the Illuminati, you know, I've been sending drafts of the email because I want to get it right. I want to make sure I cover all my bases with city
Okay,
council.
so you haven't sent it yet. You haven't hit send?
By
Okay.
the time this episode goes out, it'll be out.
Okay. Can I make a
If that
suggestion?
makes sense. Yes, you can. I love.
Okay. Because you know, in my career path, I do communications and rapid responses. Okay. So nobody likes to be told what to do.
Right.
So you may want to, I would suggest changing that so it'll land a little softer, you know, but
you-
still getting the point
Right.
across. Yeah, that's the
hear
only
you.
thing. Because I'm telling you, like, and then I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna give you, like, I'm gonna give it to you from my black girl lens. If I'm her, and I'm gonna look at it in the worst way.
Yeah.
You demand what? And then you already say, what's your buddy that you says, you know, that said, oh, we saved a baby.
Charlie Bibb.
Yeah, Bib. Yeah.
Charlie Bibb gonna be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and where you from?
Yeah. 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 And I hear you,
Where are you from,
Marsha. I
Dave?
hear you.
But yeah,
Me?
Charlie's gonna be like, you know,
Totally
and
different
I know you
plant.
don't give a damn.
I really got to jump in here. Okay. I got to, because she's saying so much, and I mean,
Say it.
she's hitting on so many things and you don't even realize it yet. Okay. So first, some of the things that you asked were, where does this go? Okay. So let's talk about where flock cameras go and what that information about your car and your taillight out goes. Okay. Because We're talking about cars now that are computerized. They're advanced. They're electric. They're this, they're that. Guess what? The vision for the future is that vehicles will communicate with one another, that you won't even be the driver of your vehicle, that your vehicle will communicate with other vehicles to negotiate safe travel on the road. Okay. The elite see this as an opportunity to fill their pockets further, to get around just every day, right? Okay. Now, everybody might not be aware of this just as well as they're not aware that your judge only needs a GED, which I don't know that that's a problem at the end of the day, because common sense is like, it eludes so many people
these
anyway.
days.
Okay. But where this flawed camera system goes, okay, well, you're required to maintain your vehicle. Okay. Well, now you have a technically smart computer in your car that is now communicating with other vehicles. It's communicating with these flawed cameras, all controlled by the smart AI who can read your tag, who knows what your service schedule should be, who can read what your tire pressure is, who can read all the components and codes that your car is sending out and saying, I am a red flag driving. Pull me over now. Drag me out of my car because I am not in compliance with what is safe for everyone else on the road, because my tire is underinflated. My light might be out, or my check engine light is on, or my airbag light is on. Okay. All those things are computerized codes communicating. And eventually, just like my cell phone told me I'm texting while driving, is a communication that's going to go to that flawed camera and have somebody at your door saying, hey, you broke the law, and we're here to hold you accountable for it. We're not accountable for our clerical errors, but you are accountable for what our AI has said you violated in our code of justice. Okay.
Our
So that's
AI.
number one. Okay. Number two, I want to hit on that communication. Okay. It's a sensitive topic, I guess, around here, because, we talk a lot about the First Amendment and what is savvy and what is not savvy. And I kind of take a lot of finger pointing in this subject arena, simply because, as we have previously discussed, the color factor of our skin has allegedly become the means in which we should dictate how we communicate with each other, right? When our rights are being violated, when somebody with weapons is standing in front of us telling us they're going to kidnap us and hold us in a cell because they don't know why, because they don't have documentation to support it, and they're just doing their job. Okay? So now you're saying, and I'm saying you in general, not you specifically, Marsha. I want to be very clear about that, because this attack has been levied on me many times, not only for the video that portrays me and having that interaction with police, but in my own writing style, not by one, but by many people, okay, who I thought I was making looking heroic, but hell, what do I know, okay? But at the same time, I have voiced my own opinions, my own expressions, my own anger, to which I feel is fully justified, because I have watched people calmly approach the situations that were wrongly levied upon them. I have been told of other people's situations who, because of their connection and their jobs, have decided to approach it in a civil and polite manner. And then everything got brushed off, and nobody heard boo about it. And then, you know what? Clerical errors have been allowed to encourage police officers to show up at innocent people's doors and tase them and kidnap them and put them in jail cells for periods of time, to charge them fines. Okay. Now, a lot of times people will say, well, if you're so innocent, you don't need to fight. Okay. But if nobody fights, and if all we see is the people that do fight as people who are guilty, then what are we saying about our nation? What are we saying about the 1%ers and the 3%ers who stood up to gain us those constitutional rights? We're saying that they're criminals. We're saying that they deserve to be kidnapped and jailed just as much as the next guy who's going to be catched by the flop camera who says your tail light is out. It's been out for more than a day. And now we're going to send police to your door and hold you accountable for it. That's where this goes. And it may not be today. It may not be a month from now. It may not be a year from now. But I promise you, it is coming. It is coming within the lifetime of our children for sure. Okay. And it all ties in. Okay. It's not just the flop cameras. It's the vehicles we're creating. It's the technology that we're pushing. It's the movies that we're portraying is okay to do this. This is what we're implementing into the brains of our citizens.
America's at a crossroads. Are you watching or are you speaking? Michael Jones isn't just watching. He's spitting fire. Protest poetry is raw and unapologetic. His words aren't just heard, they ignite action. Support the movement. We're the message. Grab your merch. It's time to rise. Are you ready to listen?
Can of sense is common sense.
Welcome to the Can of Sense Total Wellness Collective. You're just a few simple clicks away from getting the cannabis products you want and have them delivered right to your home. So how does it work? Don't worry, it's easy. First, go to cannasense.com. Click the Join Now button. Next, fill out the sponsorship form. If you don't have a sponsor, just type Can of Sense in the field. Next, submit the form and wait for your welcome email. Once you receive your welcome email, log into your account. Click on Apothecary to see all of the available inventory. Choose your products, pay for your order, and track your package. Remember, delivery times vary by location.
Oh, I totally agree, Sabrina. And I want to be clear, like, we're in Deep South. You live where?
I'm in Beaufort, Georgia.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you see Atlanta and above, like, white fragility has been trained, like, you understand?
Yeah.
It gets called out. It's not tolerated. This is Warner Robins.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're talking about like a real, what's his name? Charlie Bibb? Charlie Bibb is going to see that from Daniel and he's going to say, where are you from again, Daniel?
Yeah.
Where are you from? You said Beaufort, Georgia. He's going to say, he ain't even from around here. What he sending me this shit for?
Right.
Demand? You demanding what? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So no, and I'm just speaking to the email, because you can make the demand and make the request, but if you're truly doing it for the community, you gotta sometimes take your ego out. And I'm just talking about the email in itself, you see. And like I told you, like that, like totally get how that was upsetting for you. Like you're preaching to the choir. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like, you're preaching to the choir. Like, I mean, like,
no, I get it. Like
every time I get in a car, like,
right?
I gotta make sure my tail lights are on.
Yeah.
My son absolutely liked to. This evening was probably the first time that he's gone in my car at night, especially since I did the podcast that I have not said because I was doing this. Hey, make sure you use your blinkers.
Right.
Make sure you stop at that stop sign.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's like, I'm all about, but you want to get them to at least consider the conversation because we already know what we're going to do if they don't respond. Because I'm going to tell you all every day, you ride up to you stand outside their house. You stand outside their house just like we did Mayor Dickens about Stop Cop City. You go to the house, but you at least want to lay it out there so that you can at least try to get some conversation going, so you don't even have to go, that route. And so it's like, Sabrina, what do we do? Like, I get it. It's in the movies. I get it. It's coming. So we view it from it's coming and there's nothing we can do about it. Then that's in essence saying, oh, we just lay down and just wait for it to come. And I don't believe that, I honestly, if they were to do this in one of Robin's, and just knowing how these real Southern white boys are, they not finna have that shit, because it's going to impact them like really quick. Like, had you lived in one, like I was really thinking you in, because I'm like, no, this would have been on the news. That's why I made that comment. Like, you mean to tell me that the white woman tears didn't work for you, or you're had you been in one of Robin's and this happened, or Perry, or Macon as a white woman, shit. You think I'm lying, Daniel? It would have been all kind of shit.
Yeah.
It would have been all kind of shit.
Yeah.
Okay? Wouldn't happen. We wouldn't be discussing this, no, they would have shut that down. Charlie Bibb, he would have shut that down.
Yeah.
Oh, you all have lost y'all mind. Y'all can't go in there and he would have been like Trump trying to get some extra votes. It would have been a recording somewhere of him saying, oh, y'all can't go in there and just flag out, and it only watches black and brown people.
Yeah. Right. Mona, do you think I'm heavy-handed, or do you think I'm heavy-handed with it, or what are your thoughts? And
I'll be honest, I loved it.
I'm telling you, like, the demand one, they probably not gonna give you a town hall anyway, so it's not gonna matter. But or maybe just say, I hope that you all strongly consider, having a town, because you already have given a date, But it's just, it's just even to just land a little, different, same effect, like that. Y'all know that, that I'm a white man. This is I fought for the country. You're like, I get it. You understand? But I also get, that listening to it from both ears. You know what I mean? Because if you catch, my brothers and sisters, and it's just that day, they can be like, that cool, but shit.
Yeah.
But you also have to look at, okay, so let's talk about other things that's probably impacting this. Like, is this tied into some grant money that they apply for?
You always follow the money.
How is this getting paid for? Because it's not cheap. Hell, at least you all can apply for grants. We've behind on our audits in Fort Valley. Yeah. We don't have a $10 million to our name in Fort Valley. We can't even apply for a grant.
Yeah.
So y'all about to spend our money to watch us and attempt to make a decision. Like, they haven't even done any RFPs on it. Like, they just out here willy-nilly. Like,
what is it? Yeah.
We're just gonna do this. But overall, the email is fine. Like, and I hope you get that town hall.
And
yeah,
I hear you, Marsha. I hear you. I totally hear you.
I know.
However,
I know
it's like
this.
This is just the way I look at it. Okay.
Yeah.
This email is coming from a few places. One, it is that, like the watchman on the wall, who can, I'm a Virgo, so I can see far and make a lot of connections pretty
Me
quick.
too.
There you go. We run the world, just don't tell anybody. But I know what my role is, right? I know what my role in this person suit, and it's to be that guy that is screaming, look, and I think that it's proportionate to Operation Rolling Thunder. If that kind of a blitzkrieg thing is appropriate for the city to do to us, then an email that's strongly worded should not be a problem for them right now. I also know that this is coming from a place of, I have emailed them extremely politely about a multitude of issues for years.
And you've never gotten a response?
And have not gotten a goddamn response from any city council person on any of the issues, Marsha. Okay. The chief of police, Wayne Fisher, he has emailed me, so good up on him. But I haven't gotten any responses to any well-worded or polite emails that I've ever sent. So I already know that no matter what comes from Daniel Lewis Crumpton, it's going to automatically be met with oh, he's telling us what the fuck to do again. You know, he's a know-it-all or whatever. Okay, so I know that. You know, but I hear you. But I've tried that. Okay.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Send the email. Why don't you just hold a town hall? Because if you all hold a town hall, a true town hall in the sense of the word, you have to invite them by law. So if they don't show up, they look a certain way. If they do show up, you see, because sending an email and yes, us talking about it on the podcast, but like if you host a town hall for the community, now you like really putting it in their face. And you're forcing, you know, you're really forcing it at that point.
And you know, honestly, from my point of view, Marsha, what this actually is because I already know how the game works. I know it's all a money machine. I know how the political game works, which is why I'm never going to run for office. And more likely than not, you know, this discussion is not going to stop if they don't. This email is an invitation for our local government to demonstrate that they can go, okay, we fucked up and we're going to take a minute. That's what this is, an invitation for them to go, okay, let's not drill into something just because we've already made a decision. You know, I love grace. I can forgive and forgive and forgive until, you know, the east is far as from the west. I can forgive when somebody legitimately goes, okay, I made a mistake. I didn't think this through. Whatever. However, when a person refuses to repent or change their mind on an issue, once they have become fully aware of the devastating consequences it can have on not just everybody around them, but on themselves, then, you know, I'm sorry, you know. But anyway, that being the case, I mean, the conversation is going to continue because more and more people are going to, you know, like in the links that I gave them, people all over the country, for the most part, how this is creeping up on people is most people don't participate in local politics or local government. They don't really give shit until something affects them. Their garbage doesn't get picked up correctly or whatever it is. They don't care. So a lot of the lawsuits that are already being filed are people who are just driving down the road, like in, I think in West Virginia or wherever, Norfolk, Virginia. And they see these cameras everywhere. They snap a picture of them and send them to their council. And they say, what are these? And the council explains it to them. And they go, yeah, I think we're all going to sue the city now. Right. So the email is another opportunity to inform them that, look, the lawsuits against the flock system have already begun everywhere. And it's going to be a cascading effect. This is going to get caught up in the courts and lawsuits are going to start flying like ninjas, man. You know, so it's
totally get it.
To go,
and it's
I'm
sorry, it took so long to get here. Hell, take the damn town hall shit out. Like everything else, like because you're doing everything else is a go. Everything else is a go. What do you want to have a town hall for? To give them an opportunity to try to sell it? They voted on it to use this. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing about it. It's just really, you see, it's just it. Everything else, you damn right. You let them know. Here are some lawsuits. This has happened here. This is da 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 da. So that way, when you keep the discussion, you can't sit here and say, "Oh, I didn't know." Just in case you didn't know, I'm gonna make sure you didn't know. I'm just, you know, since I found out you didn't hit send on it, take the town hall out, keep every damn thing else, and keep it damn moving.
Point conceded. Point conceded. I'll see, there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors. Point conceded.
Yeah, just take that shit out. Everything else, you rock and roll. You can even go harder for all I damn care. But that town, like, for what?
All right. Well, all right. Yeah, I know. I know. They'd never do it. So we're gonna go ahead and wind up. I'll go ahead and get the Mona. What are your thoughts? You got kids. You got kids who are growing up in this shit. So what do you got to say?
Well, I mean, I've read the book 1984 and what was the other one? Animal Farm.
Yeah.
And seen plenty of movies and what Sabrina and Marsha were talking about. Of course, I don't want my child to grow up in a police state. I mean, no, so yeah.
Gotcha. Bree?
I mean, that's why I'm doing this with you.
To get your face out there and be a voice, I mean, because I'm going to tell you, and there are a lot of other voices behind the scenes who, if they don't take the email well, I'm probably not going to be the only one. So it's like, the more and more people are going to become more and more aware because more and
You
more
saying
people
I
are
should
gonna be
expect more cops at my door?
Probably.
Don't
I mean,
say
look,
that.
it's like this.
You
I
know,
mean, like in reality, hang on just a second, Marsha. In reality, this is like in all seriousness, when you have a lunatic like Trump in the position that he's in, and he is invoking like the Alien Invasion Act, which basically, or whatever it's called, these archaic things that allowed them to put Japanese Americans in internment camps. He's evoking those, and he's doing them for a reason. Which means that any of us now are on a list, and that list is attached to that license plate on the back of the car that belongs to the state that they force you to have by threat, duress, and coercion. And so now, and I've seen, Sabrina knows, for fuck's sake, in
They
my
can
police
travel
jacket,
all around the state with you too.
what?
So it's like now you take what Hitler did, and it's not a stretch of the imagination. It's giving Adolf Hitler and that mindset, that mentality of the it's the Fourth fucking Reich, and giving them the power of almost a god digitally, not all the way clearly, but it's terrifying to me, and it's a reality, and it's like it's so weird because in fascist states, people who are in government, I'm a huge Star Wars fans too, so it's like how did the people who were working in the Galactic Republic one day, who were like a senator, like what did they do whenever the Empire completely absorbed everything? Now they're like working for the Empire, and it's wild, man. And I'm looking around like in my local government and across the country, and I'm like, we are literally in a well, the systems are collapsing, but it's a fascist takeover. And I do not understand how anybody, and I said this before the election, I said, I would not want to be anybody working in government from this point forward, because you're either going to be morally compromised either by yourself or by the circumstances or other things, because the writing is on the wall. I have no hope of saving the Republic. None. It's toast. Toasty.
Um, just thinking, just things that you and Sabrina have said. I mean, with Elon and where he's wanting to go with the robots, and so this could easily pivot into these robot police knocking on our doors at some point. And
Pizza.
and I was trying to I was looking and seeing how the administration was feeling about the smart cities. And the thought was that there was probably going to be some pushback from him. However, with Elon having his agenda and everything, and so it's like, okay, this could totally turn in a different direction, especially by the time, we have grandkids, and, and so if we don't get a hold of this and just seeing the tie-in to this and where it could lead to. So, I mean, we have to make noise about it and continue to have this discussion. Because if it's teetering on coming to small town USA, then it's, that's a, that's a scary thought. And for it to even be, you know, allowed, or even thought of. And
Right, Marsha.
yeah,
And we could tell you stories, and we could probably talk to you for hours and hours, but we're coming up on 3 hours, so we're going to go ahead and
yes,
start winding it
yes.
down with final thoughts and everything. So, uh, let's see, we got 5-6 minutes. Mona, what are your before we wrap this one up? What are your final thoughts on this
No,
whole issue of?
I enjoyed the talk. And Marsha, thank you for coming on. You always give me knowledge. So I love hearing you speak your mind and give your opinions, as well as Sabrina. So I enjoyed our talk today. Very informative.
Bree?
Oh, yes. I do love the diverse mindset of everybody that we bring on. I always refer to our upbringing, and as we all have children, of course, I didn't have the successful parent upbringing who taught me how to respectfully approach police when they're violating your rights. My parents cared nothing about politics or probably didn't know anything about constitutional rights. So to have Marsha, who came to the table from a young age, having exposure to that, I think that's phenomenal. And you can see the difference in all of our responses to what's going on today, in how that upbringing may have contributed. I think on one of the previous podcasts, I said, I wish I was brought up by a Black woman, because I might have had a little bit more patience with what occurred. I might have handled it differently. Who knows? But I wasn't. I was brought up by white New Yorkers. Okay, let's put that out there. I witnessed a lot of interaction with police with my parents that taught me how to respond to the current situations. In the same sense, what my daughter saw is currently her mindset. And hopefully, my stepping up to the plate with my awareness, with every book I've read from 1984 to Brave New World and even The Handmaid's Tale, I have seen every piece of every one of those puzzles being carried out. And I only hope that the influence doesn't stop with me, and that if this fight doesn't happen in my time, that my children have the awareness to make sure it doesn't stop with them, because that would be the devastation of our future. As Crumpton has already indicated, we're there. The Republic is gone. You know, I firmly believe that the only solution at this point, wipe the slate clean. Okay. And you don't want to know what that means. But to me, that's what it is. Okay. You don't start a new book in an old one. So that's my final 2 cents, is that I hope that we can end this fight and wipe that slate clean. But if we can't, I hope the fight doesn't stop with me. I hope that what has been portrayed through us is carried out and ends in my children's lifetime with real solutions.
Yeah. So, Marsha, your final thoughts before you guys in Fort Valley actually have to make the decision on this monstrosity.
Well, you know, um, I have no doubt, because I know how we move here, and you know, I hope that it will become just simply an agenda item, you know, something that, and that, you know, it will, you know, stop there. I know that we'll give a lot of pushback, you know, to it. And, you know, because, you know, it simply just can't happen here in Fort Valley. I have no doubt that it won't happen here, because, you know, and I just, you know, because I don't want to leave or give that, you know, impression. Like, I was raised to not trust the police, period, ever. Okay. Make it home, you know, if you can. If not, because what I can tell you, and I will go on record, Sabrina, like if my not trying to keep my tone was not going to work, then they were just going to, in a situation like that with me, they just going to have to kill me that day.
Yep.
Because it's just some things that I'm just not going to, yeah. But, that's why I make sure my shit is clean and good. I make sure because we don't get that luxury.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but, I hope the plan is, I hope that, I can tell you all by the time that this airs, that it didn't go through, or you're just probably going to see on the news, like, it's a riot in this piece. Like, it's not like, it's not going to be a good look. Like, we going to show up every day in Fort Valley. Like, we might start off with some little protests, but it's going, it's election time. Like, you won't get in. Like, we ain't afraid to implement a recall. Like, we understand the different tools in the toolkit. And so if they want to make that happen, if they want to be the first, then we're here for it. Not a problem. Can make it happen. I mean, but yeah, so I'm hoping when I return, I'll be able to tell you all how we successfully.
I hope for your sake the agenda item is just that. I'm saying that this was an agenda that was brought up and we said no. I hope that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope Fort Valley says
I hope
no,
that for them, Sabrina. Yeah, I hope that for them.
And I think the most important thing, Marsha, is that in order to be able to put the brakes on it in the community, before it hits, is for the people to be aware and educated themselves about what it is. And then that's better than what happened here. Most people didn't even know what the hell was going on. But it has been 3 hours, and this has been wonderful. Ladies, please don't jump off after I hit stop, because I need all your files. And then if you do it and you screw it up, then all of this was for nothing. So everybody go to divineamerica.co for Sabrina's lunacy. If you need a Reiki reading or some of Mona's blogs, go to monalucia.com. Marsha, you don't have a website yet, but I know a guy. Your Facebook
I know that guy too.
Is just okay. All right. So you are we'll put all the link. You send us any link that you want to go in the descriptions, and we'll make sure that it's there. Thank you for coming on the Downloaded Content Podcast, Ashe. Okay. And
thank you all for having me.
Anytime.
So nice meeting you, Sabrina. I'm sure we'll connect soon.
I hope so.
And I know I'll see you all.
Oh yeah.
Step into your power with Mona Lucia, Tarot, and Reiki. Realign your energy, gain clarity, and embrace healing. Whether you seek guidance through Tarot or balance through Reiki, your journey starts here. Visit monalucia.com and book your session today.